everyone, it's Maria here from pepperlyrose.blogspot.com.au. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Sydney, Australia. Thank you for joining me, and today's project is a very special one. This is the project that I had talked about in a previous video where my good friend Gaynor Boyce from the UK and myself are collaborating together to present to you a project that is loved theme, and the love can be for either Valentine's Day or to show someone their love and appreciation for them. So we hope that this video and this collaboration will help you to create with the stamp sets you already have or any other new products that may be offering in our Stampin' Up! Catalogues. So today I'm just going to use some oldie but goodie stamp sets. I'm using the Work of Art stamp set, and I love that little heart, so I'll be featuring that heart today, as well as the Sunshine Sayings stamp set. Love the sentiments and the font on this, as well as the images, but today I'm going to be concentrating on the sending and hug sentiment from this stamp set. I'm also featuring the Sunshine Wishes Thinlit Dies, and I will be using the Love Thinlit as well as the heart. So we'll get started on this project straight away. We'll be using some embossing paste. So I'm just going to bring my craft mat over on here so I can protect my work surface. But before I do that, actually I'll take that away. I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock. It's half an A4 and scored in half again, and I'll be using that today. So I'll just make sure that it's burnished nicely. So, oops, just grab that. So, my trimmer is a little bit blunt, but if that happens, all you need to do is just use your bone folder and you can smooth away any of those rough bits as well. So, keep that in mind when you're doing your projects. Or you can quite simply give it a little trim, but I'll leave it as is for the moment. Okay, so we'll keep that card base, but now I've also got a piece of Whisper White, just some scrap regular Whisper White cardstock, as well as some silver foil, which we will be using for this project. So we'll take out our craft mat. I've got my craft mat and I've got my card base. I'm just going to stamp onto my craft mat directly, actually, some Pool Party ink, Pool Party ink. I'm just going to give it a little stamp right there, just some colour, and I'm going to bring out my embossing paste. I like to keep mine in its bag and it prevents it from drying it out. So I'll just bring out my embossing paste and I'll undo that. Oops, well, that's really stuck on, isn't it? And I'm going to use a palette knife, and I'll be using this one. I like this one, so it's nice and soft still. I'm just going to just bring out a little bit of an embossing paste, so just do that, put it on there, and I'm just going to now just mix it all up on here. And I'm just going to use this as my background, so I'll just give it a mix. Just take up all the colour. It's a little bit dark, so I'm going to mix in some more. So I'll just use my finger for this. Use that without dirtying everything. I'm just going to wipe my finger with a tissue, and that's fine, it's gotten rid of it. And just lighten it up just to get it to the right colour. So you can use whatever background you wish, but I'm starting off with this because I want to give it the opportunity to dry. Okay, so we have now done this. So I'll just use my scraped piece there, and I'm just going to smear it on the card. Doesn't have to be precise. You can have it as smooth or as, you know, as rough as you like. I like the texture of the embossing paste. I have seen this around on you know, on Pinterest and YouTube, so there are many demonstrators and others that have created cards like this, so I'm not the only one. So this is my spin on this, and I quite like the texture of the card base. I'm keeping this to one layer because I'm actually going to send that to my friend Gaynor in the UK, and yeah, just give it whatever texture you like, whatever looks good for you, and I'm just going to do it like this. So that's nice and dry. So I've got a tissue here. I'm going to get rid of the excess. I'm going to leave that to dry. Just scrape it off because I don't want a lot of, yeah, too much texture because I want to stamp on it too afterwards. So I'm just going to clean this up very quickly with some baby wipes. I'll just bring that up. Sorry about that. And I'm just going to leave this to dry for a few minutes. And I'll just bring back my craft sheet, and I'm going to clean it on camera so you can see how easy it is. But the secret is do not leave it to dry. Clean it up pretty much immediately. So I'll clean up the spatula because that's what we use the most, and then I'm just going to clean up with a baby wipe my craft mat, and it's too easy. It's all finished and done. So I've got a couple of things to do whilst I'm waiting for the card to dry. I'll just put that away over there. So that's all finished and done. Just put this away. So that's the secret with these things, is make sure you clean them straight away, otherwise they will dry and give you the hardest time and they will not come off easily for you. So yeah. Alright, so we'll take that away. And in the meantime, I'll put this back in its plastic bag, and you shut the bag because it does dry out, and make sure you have it tight too. So make sure that's dry. Okay, now I'm going to put the sending and hugs sentiment on the one block, so I'm just going to put that on my block there. And the hugs, so that we can, I'm going to heat emboss these. So I've got a piece of black cardstock. It's just a strip of black. And what I'm going to grab is my embossing buddy. Where are you, embossing buddy? I had it up here. Oh, there it is. A few seconds ago. So this is all whilst the card is drying off. Going to rub the embossing buddy over the top. So this is just a scrap piece. Okay. And I'm going to grab my Versamark ink pad. Oops, and it fell off my block, so I'll just make sure it stays on. And I'm just going to emboss it. I'm going to stamp it. Make sure I stamp it really well, and do it towards the bottom. Hold it for a few seconds and then let it go. And I'm going to grab my white embossing powder, and I'm just going to grab some white emboss powder. And pour it over the top, and I'm just going to flick off any excess embossing paste. Embossing powder. Okay. Alright, so we've got that now on here. What I'm going to do is heat emboss it, and I'll be back in a second. Hi everyone, I'm back. I've just heat embossed this in white on black. So what I'm going to do with this sentiment is I'm going to use my scissors and give it a rough trim. I want it to be like a, those label makers look to it. Because I think it'll add a nice touch to this particular card. So just rough, as straight as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just like a label maker. Just trim it around it as close as you can, or as close as you'd like it to be. Because I trim close, now I have to trim close again to the letters, but keep it consistent, and that's how that turned out. So that turned out really nice. So sending and hugs, right there, all finished. So keep these scraps because they do come in handy for other projects, believe it or not. Okay, now that we have done this, I'm going to use my Big Shot, and we're going to do some cutting. And as I said, I'm going to use the heart and the love center, Thinlit. So I'll just pop this over the top here. I'll grab my platforms. All right, I'm out. All right. To start off with, the platforms that you will need for this are the Big Shot platform with the thin die adapter and a cutting plate. I'm going to put my silver foil. I'll pop the love on there because I want to cut that out in silver. You can use any silver foil you have in your possession, whatever you wish. And we will crank that through the Big Shot. So that's one. And here it is. It's cut out absolutely beautifully. Look at that. Isn't that perfect? And there's a little bit there that can come out. That turned out perfect. Love that. So that's done. The next thing we're going to do is grab some Whisper White cardstock. And we're going to cut out the heart. And we're going to cut that out twice. So cut that out once. Because it's a little bit intricate, I'm going to go back over it again. So cut it out twice. And then I will move on to the next heart. And that came out very easily, which is fantastic. Just grab some of those scraps that fell on me. You can even keep this as well for, that makes a really cool shaped heart. So keep that in mind. Don't throw that out necessarily, or you can use it to make something else. So that's the heart. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to cut it out again. And I'll crank that through the Big Shot, and I'll go through it again twice. That's 1 and 2. Sorry about my camera moving. I'm in a different location to where I normally film because I have my kids outside with their dad and my husband, and they're watching TV and what have you. So I'm just in their room to try and not be noisy for them so they can enjoy their shows. So that's that with that. And I'm just going to use my scissors to poke out any of these little pieces and try and get the die out of its out of here. So I'll just poke through as much as I can, and there we go. And so now the heart has been punched out, and that's all that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so as I said, you can use this card for Valentine's Day or for any other purpose really you would like it for. Just get rid of all of these scraps off this. Okay, so with these little hearts, I'm going to actually sponge on them because I love the effect of sponging, and you can make it as intense or as light as you like. So make sure I've got this is half actually. I've used this before. So this is our Stampin' Up! Grid paper that you can also buy. And it is quite inexpensive because you get over 100 sheets, which is fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to bring out my Pool Party ink pad, and I'm going to bring out a sponge. And I'm just going to try and do an ombre effect. So I'm just going to use my sponge and just go over the top. Just want the colours to be subtle yet obvious. and just sponge. And I'll do it lightly towards the bottom, but still give it a little bit of colour. So that's how that looks. Sorry about the lighting in here. It is a little harder to control, but I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. So I'll just go over here. Okay, so that is now all sponged nicely, and I'm going to put my Soft Sky away, and I'm going to use my, what is it, Pink Pirouette next. So I'll pop this over here. And I'll just start sponging. So it's just quick. So sponge, sponge, sponge. See, and this can be a great Valentine's Day card too. So there's, you know, you can use this for any purpose really, or just to show somebody that you love and appreciate them. I've got a very dry ink pad, and I think I'm in the market for a new one very soon. But this is the old style that I have, which is the linen pad. Still works, the colour's the same, and it's just beautiful. So and I think that that is it. It's quite subtle, but I quite like that. So if you put them together, you can see how subtle it is, and I wanted it to be subtle. I wanted it to have a more of a white feel to it. So with regards to our card base, it is now dry, and whilst I was embossing these, I also gave this a little bit of a dry with the heat tool. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick layout, sending love and hugs. That's just beautiful. And I'm going to also put the hearts there. So put the hearts there, put the sending there, sending love and hugs. And I think we've got ourselves a winner with such a beautiful card. So we'll just start putting this together, and I think that's absolutely lovely. And I like that it's got a subtle effect to it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to glue this down. And I'm keeping this as a one-layer card without a lot of bulk, because I will be sending this overseas in the mail. So I hope it arrives there without any damage. And this ensures... Oh, my glue has closed up there. So I'll be back in a second and I'll get the glue flowing again. Okay, I'm back. I've got the glue flowing now. I'm just using regular PVA glue, but feel free to use Tombow or any other glue you may have, liquid glue. As I said, because I'm sending this overseas, I want to make sure that this mails through without any problems and without a lot of bulk. So we will pop this down here, and I'm going to wipe off any excess glue. And I don't mind that it has a rough effect now, because that's the idea with that background. As I said before in my other video, there are plenty of cards out there that are quite similar to this. So I'm sure it's not overly unique. So I'm not claiming that I'm an expert on this in any way, shape or form. So yeah, maybe a combination of cards I've seen, but I quite like that, that embossing paste background. And I love the use of these framelits. They're absolutely stunning. So we'll keep this going. I'm sure there are similar designs to this on YouTube and on Pinterest and Facebook and wherever else, or Instagram. So don't chastise me on this one. I know I have on about others copying. And as I said, we all do copy each other in some way. Just don't say that you came up with it though. That's just my only thing. So anyway, This is my card. This is a combination of a lot of things that I've seen around that I absolutely love. They're concepts, and I'm just combining things that I love, and I think this looks perfect. So I'm going to now put the sending on there, and I'm doing it at an angle just to add some interest. So I'll just do it that way. I'm going to now put some glue on the love cutout, the die cut. Just spot it with a bit of glue. Make sure it sticks down. Okay, the love. I like to keep things simple without the use of too many embellishments and what have you. And especially when we're sending cards overseas, you know, it's no good if it's too bulky because it can actually be destroyed on the way. And it's also expensive. So keep the costs down. You can have a beautiful design without a lot of bulk. So I think this kind of a design is absolutely perfect. So I'll just put my hugs at an angle on the opposite way. Now, just to let you know, when you put embossing paste on, it does warp the card. And this is thick Whisper white cardstock, so it does warp. So hopefully when it goes through the mail, it will be all nice and flattened out in some way. I hope so. And this is for my friend Gaynor. I'm just sending her lots of love and hugs, and I hope she's well. And with every one of us goes through something awful in life, so I hope she likes this card as much as I do, really. So that's it. I hope you like it. If you want to purchase any of the products featured today, just go through my online store at peplyrose.stampinup.net. I absolutely love this card. It's very nice, and it's using the... Oh, I was going to use the Work of Art stamp set and use the heart, and I forgot to use it, but in the end I don't think it really needs it. And I'm just using the die cuts, so when I said I was using this, I completely forgot to use it. It took a life of its own. That's what happens. Sometimes I have an idea in mind and then it just doesn't work out that way, so I'm just sending it as is. I think it looks beautiful as it is. I hope you like it. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you so much for coming past, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.